In New York, Ukraine's top prosecutors now working to gather evidence of war crimes against Russia, including increasing accounts of sexual assault. CBS's Holly Williams spoke to one woman about her experience.
When the Ukrainian military took us to Redwood village because they heard reports of sexual assault by Russian forces. We were told others were also raped there, including a 16-year-old girl. We cannot independently verify any of the allegations, but Vera's story was detailed, compelling, and heartbreaking. She's also reported it to the Ukrainian police, she told us, who took sheets away for testing. I wish he'd killed me instead of what he did, Vera said.
Ukrainian officials are also warning people to leave ahead of more violence as Russian troops head east. COVID cases are going up again as Omicron subvariant BA2 keeps spreading. Here's CBS's Meg Oliver.
Some studies say BA2 is more contagious than Omicron, with people like New York City Mayor Eric Adams already isolating after testing positive for coronavirus. Some health experts say now is the time to act. Students at Columbia University in New York City were required to start wearing masks again in class.
Philadelphia also reinstated its indoor mask mandate. The city will start enforcing it on Monday. Millions of people are bracing for severe thunderstorms and possible tornadoes this week. Here's Weather Channel meteorologist Mike Bettis.
More storms from Texas all the way up into Iowa, where thunderstorms and tornadoes are possible here. Not to mention an increased threat for hail as well. Large hail from Omaha all the way back down toward Austin. 2-inch diameter hail is possible. If that weren't enough, come Wednesday, more thunderstorms return from Shreveport to Chicago.
A tornado was spotted overnight in Kansas. The National Urban League has released its annual report of the state of Black America, and it says while Black people have made gains in health and economic indicators, they've fallen further behind white people in education, social justice, and civic engagement. California is working on shortening the work week. A new bill would cut hours from 40 to 32 for companies with 500 or more employees. That's about a fifth of companies in the state. Workers would get time and a half for working longer weeks and double pay for working 12-hour workdays. Ballerini performed in her backyard on the CMT Awards on CBS last night. She was supposed to host the show, but caught COVID. The Juns were also a big draw, performing for the first time on TV in more than 2 decades. This is CBS News.
CBS correspondent Allison Keyes goes deep into social justice issues across the nation on Kaleidoscope, a podcast from CBS News Radio. New episodes every Friday.
Hi there, I'm Steve Colbert, host of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, featuring me, Steve Colbert. Do you love television but hate the visuals? Do you wish you could get the freshest topical comedy one day later? Do you have one or more ears? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you're going to love our new podcast, The Late Show Pod Show with Stephen Colbert. Listen to The Late Show Pod Show with Stephen Colbert on Spotify, Lucy, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's face it, the pandemic has forced so many of us to re-examine all parts of our lives. And the only one that I'm actually qualified to help you with is your personal finances. I'm Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst. I'm also a certified financial planner, and I'm psyched because I have a new podcast. It's called Eye on Money. I'm going to field your questions and help you get where you want to go. Follow CBS Audio's Eye on Money with
charges related to the Kincaid and Dixie fires. The Kincaid fire burned 77,000 acres and destroyed hundreds of homes in Sonoma County in 2019. And the Dixie fire spanned 5 counties, burned 1,500 square miles, and destroyed several small towns, including Greenville. One firefighter died. KCBS's Marty Schaefer reports the utility will avoid criminal prosecution.
Under terms of the settlement, PG&E will pay more than $50 million in civil penalties to local nonprofits and will have its safety measures reviewed and monitored for 5 years. More than $20 million will go to Sonoma County, says District Attorney Jill Ravitch.
At the end of the day, this judgment reflects their acknowledgement that that fire was a result of something that went terribly wrong up in the geysers, and that they're doing their part to keep that from ever happening again.
Sonoma shared its expertise with the 5 counties impacted last year by the Dixie fire. A similar settlement was reached. Ravitch says there are few tools for criminal prosecution of corporations, and that this judgment makes Sonoma County safer.
There are those who will say the PG&E bought its way out of a criminal prosecution. We hope those people will look at the potential outcome of the conviction and weigh it against this judgment.
Judgment stipulates the millions in payments will not be charged to PG&E customers or recovered in rate increases. In Santa Rosa, Marty Schaefer, KCBS.
And in the settlement, PG&E struck deals with 6 counties devastated by wildfires. One of those, Sonoma County, was especially hard. KCBS's David Welch spoke with one Sonoma County supervisor to get his reaction on the settlement.
Sonoma County Supervisor David Rabbit was surprised to learn a settlement had been reached.
We weren't briefed about what the settlement was going to be or what it was. Actually read it in the paper.
His reaction?
It's frustrating.
That's because Rabbit had hoped settlement dollars would go directly to the victim.
Ranch I know that was horribly devastated by the Kincaid fire, the Frankie Ranch, where they lost 8 barns, a number of homes, 20 head of cattle, and they still haven't received a dime from PG&E.
Rabbit sees the settlement terms as another in a line of familiar tactics used by the utility.
At this point in time, after 17 and all the fires that PG&E's had, this seems to be a cost of doing business. What is the smallest amount that we can pay, get by? Who do we need to give it to make them go away, and how can we move on?
He says it's another example of the utility sidestepping the real issue.
PG&E needs to invest hundreds of millions of dollars, and we'd all be better off if they did, upgrading their infrastructure, undergrounding power lines, understanding, in this case, the Kincaid fire, understanding which lines are active and which lines aren't.
David Welch, KCBS.
And just ahead on KCBS.
This is Matt Bigler. It was a particularly bloody weekend in Oakland. 4 homicides in 4 days.
KCBS News Time 1:08. Good morning, Carolyn. How's it looking out there?
Well, in the Lathrop area on I-5 southbound, that connector from Highway 120, there was an earlier fire reported. We don't have any more updates about that fire, but it looks like traffic is being turned around in that interchange and then kind of steered back onto eastbound 120. So if anybody can see what's going on, you can always give us a call at 415-391-KCBS, and that's 415-391-5227. We also do have some road work that's going on. We have on the highway now, if anybody in Sausalito, 101 southbound, 3 left lanes are closed from Spencer Avenue to the south tower of the Golden Gate Bridge, and that's where we're seeing some sluggish traffic right now. Starts just before Alexander Avenue, and it's under the limit until you get all the way to the toll plaza in San Francisco. Your next traffic update is at 1:18 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Well, some clouds this morning with patchy fog right along hugging the coast, and lows from the mid-30s to the mid-40s, mostly sunny, breezy, breezy as it will. Keep us keep taking cool today, highs from the mid-50s to low 60s. Traffic and weather together on the 8th, sun, all news, 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
DRE 0178956, MLS 4869, DRE license 01420-0B33.
Seniors, every day we're experiencing higher food and gas prices. Everything's cost more. Inflation is real, and it's not going away anytime soon. Tom Brown here. Eliminate your house payment. Unlock the equity in your home with a tax-free reverse mortgage line of credit and get this. As interest rates go up, so does your line of credit and your spending power. Find out how you can turn inflation into a personal win and start living your life again. All
Call me, Tom Brown, proud Navy veteran, at 844-949-5600. Call now to hear how a reverse mortgage will change your life. With loan amounts up to $6 million. All right. Because I don't just serve seniors. I am one. 844-949-5600. Call 844-949-5600 for Google, the Tom Brown Group.
KCBS News Time 1:10. Firefighters in San Jose continue to monitor the scene at a Home Depot store that was totally destroyed over the weekend by a 5-alarm fire. KCBS's Jennifer Hodges says there's been concern from neighbors over air quality and what burned.
Residents here in the neighborhood surrounding the Home Depot store on Blossom Hill say you could smell plastic burning.
Depends on which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
It's still burning.
Ken lives close to this store.
Boy, you know, like you said, Pete, there's a lot of flammable material in there.
The wind's blowing towards us, so like we were just at the bank, and you can smell the smoke down there by the Chase that. It's really heavy down that way.
Air quality tests over the weekend led to a number of shelter-in-place orders, but San Jose Fire Battalion Chief Bennett Yendry says tests are now clear.
In terms of things we can measure, that there are incidents and that progressions where we have no readings that hit that threshold.
Water flow from fighting the fire has also been a concern.
Yeah, we are stopping that facility today, removing it and holding it much closer.
In South San Jose, Jennifer Hodges, KCBS.
And as we've been reporting, Oakland police are investigating the fatal shooting of a 15-year-old girl in East Oakland on Saturday. As KCBS's Matt Bigwood reports, she was just one of 4 homicides in 4 days in the city.
The bloodshed started last Thursday with the killing of a man during a robbery on Lakeshore Avenue. On Friday, there were 2 homicides. A man found dead in a vehicle in West Oakland, and a security guard at a Tough Shed encampment. And then on Saturday, a 15-year-old girl was shot in a house in East Oakland and later died at a hospital.
On Saturday alone, there were an additional 5 other folks wounded in separate shootings around the city. So it was a particularly violent weekend.
Barry Donnellan, president of the Oakland Police Officers Association. The 4 fatal shootings do not appear to be related, but Donnellan says they do have one thing in common: the result of too many guns on the streets of Oakland.
Everyone seems to be armed, and the numbers of firearms recovering off the streets are at record levels.
Oakland police tell KCBS investigators are still looking into the circumstances of the shooting that claimed the life of the 15-year-old girl. Her identity has not yet been released. In the East Bay, Matt Bigler, KCBS.
And President Joe Biden has announced new gun rules aimed at limiting the use of so-called ghost guns. KCBS's Keith Manconi has some reaction from an expert on California gun law.
It's a push to add more oversight to the sale of kits used to make guns at home from assembled parts. Growing challenge in California.
Estimates range as high as 50% of guns found at crime scenes are ghost guns in California.
UCLA law professor and gun policy expert Adam Winkler. Until now, guns made in such a manner have been impossible to trace, but under the newly announced rules, purchasers will be required to undergo a background check, and manufacturers will need to mark components with serial numbers. And while California is considering its own measures for cracking down on homemade firearms, Winkler says this action from the White House is still critical.
For good and effective laws, we need federal laws regulating guns, because that will do more to prohibit the problem nationwide, rather than doing it at the state or local level, where there's always bound to be loopholes.
Meantime, gun rights advocates are pushing back on the measure, criticizing President Biden for acting without Congress. Keith Manconi, KCBS.
And Sonoma County Sheriff's deputies found a 2-year-old girl Monday, hours after she was allegedly kidnapped by her mother. The Sonoma County Sheriff's Office said 20-year-old Shelby Privet, who does not have custody, took her daughter, Mackenzie, from the child's grandmother's house Monday. The grandmother has custody of the child. The 2 were seen on foot walking eastbound on Highway 12 towards Santa Rosa. And by 4:15 in the afternoon, the Sheriff's Department reported both had been found. Additional circumstances surrounding the alleged kidnapping have not been released. Coming up on KCBS.
A host walk is effectively keeping from getting the highly transmissible BA2 subvariant.
KCBS News Time, 1:15. The San Diego Padres beat the San Francisco Giants 4-2. We have some more on sports with Kevin Rapp.
left reliever Chris Mazza, who gave up a 3-run homer to Elvis Andrus in the second. Then, ninth inning, Brett Phillips, the right fielder, came on to pitch for Tampa Bay. He got 2 outs, but with the bases loaded, his Eephus pitch did not cooperate.
It's very high to left field. Ramirez back, and that baby is gone. Grand slam, Noisy. 13-2, the A's lead, and they have homered 4 times tonight.
Glenn Kuiper, NBC Sports Bay Area. Sheldon Noisy with the grand slam. Paul Blackburn goes 5 shutout innings for the win. Gave up 3 hits. The A's now 2-3. Tampa Bay falls to 3-1. NBA Lakers fire head coach Frank Vogel after 3 years. And the Sacramento Kings part ways with interim coach Alvin Gentry. At the Sports Zone, Kevin Rabbit.
More stories. You can fire the fight fire by clearing overgrown vegetation from the landscape.
More coverage.
Prescribed burning is now widely seen as a crucial part of California's effort to prevent destructive wildfires.
More depth.
Currently, most burn projects remain fairly small.
And so there's this really immense need to scale up our use of prescribed fire.
And more right here on the Bay Area's #1 news station, KCBS. Hey, kiddo, ready to catch that movie?
Almost. Wallet, phone, keys, mask. Yep, all set.
Mask? That's not required, is it?
No, but it's gonna be busy and crowded, so I'll feel better with it on.
Keep right. It is opening night. Let me grab mine.
Nice. You don't pass the vibe check, Dad.
And that's when you can help protect you and others. With just one road to brought to you by the California Department of Health.
Fremont Bank. Take one thing. Bank is the right choice for local and family-owned businesses. Fremont Bank. Learn more at fremontbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Traffic and weather together on the 8th on KCBS. It's 118. Carolyn Burns has got traffic.
And in Santa Fe, a crash on southbound 880 that connects her to the southbound 101. Well, that has been cleared. Traffic has moved through the area. In Marin County, northbound 101, before that San Antonio Road on-ramp there, apparently we have a vehicle that's on the left-hand shoulder and partly in that left-hand lane. CHP hasn't arrived on scene yet, so if you're in that vicinity, just be aware that it is there. And they're still trying to clear this accident westbound 80 on the Pinole Valley Road off-ramp. It was a big box truck that was stalled blocking the left-hand lane of that off-ramp. You'll see activity there. Hopefully they're getting a heavy-duty tow truck on scene to haul that other box truck out of there. Your next traffic update is at 1:28 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Thank you, Carolyn. Partly cloudy this morning with some patchy fog along the coast. Lows from the mid-30s to the mid-40s. Mostly sunny, breezy, cool today. Highest from the mid-50s to the low 60s. And looking ahead, increasing clouds on Wednesday leading to a chance of showers. Rain is likely on Thursday. Kind of like that, lightly. On Thursday, there's partial clearing on Friday. More rain Friday night into Saturday. And then mostly sunny on Easter Sunday. Right now, San Rafael, you have 44. Napa, 44 as well. Concord, 46. San Francisco's 46. For Livermore, 42. San Jose Airport, 47. And Redwood City at 45. Traffic and weather together on the 8th on All News 1069 and AM 740. KCBS. KCBS News Time 1:20. Congresswoman Jackie Spear, who is vaccinated and double boosted but still got COVID, says she's experiencing a bit of a sore throat, illustrating the point that while the vaccine can't completely protect you from getting COVID, it can keep you from getting really sick. But KCBS's Holly Kwan reports the messaging still isn't clear on whether or not you should get that 4th booster.
In the last week, we've seen the House Speaker, Attorney General, and dozens of the Washington elite test positive for COVID. While the CDC just a few weeks ago approved the second booster shot for those 50 and older, the messaging hasn't been very aggressive. Dr. Dean Blumberg, infectious disease specialist at UC Davis, was our guest on Ask an Expert. He says it's still not clear just how effective the fourth shot would be, but some people should consider getting it.